Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pies presser. Should the Pies swoop on Jai Simpkin and a whole bunch more, it's time to talk all things black and white. Good evening all. I hope we're all doing super well for this relatively early show. Once again, I do have a dinner tonight, so priorities have been made, but we must make time for the Pies press up because we are a loving community, aren't we? I welcome you all. Plenty to discuss in this time. We have Jai Simpkin that we want to talk about and whether he's worth the trade. There was Bobby Hill's player agent on SEN or Trade Radio earlier today, so there was some insight there. And I think I made one more video. Yes, there was a contract extension for Rowan Steele and Will Hayes, so that's some really good news in-house, which we like to celebrate first and foremost. Jai Simpkin. Now, I want to open this up. I was just on Twitter, and I mean, very rarely do I comment on other content creators or Twitters and whatnot, but I saw this North fan account in my For You page. So I do want to read this out. And let's go easy on this, right? Let's just look at this. So what we're hearing is Leek Aaliyah could have a suitor in North Melbourne. So this Twitter page, Baz, NMFC, put up a 3-team mock trade. North Melbourne get Leek Aaliyah, Bo McCreary, and Collingwood's 2026 first-round pick. Collingwood get Jai Simpkin. GWS get pick 39 via Collingwood and pick 46 via North Melbourne. Who says no? Well, I think we can all categorically agree that we as Collingwood fans say no to that. That would be, oh my goodness, that would be the worst trade pre-performance of Jai Simpkin that you would ever see from list management in the black and white. So effectively, this mock trade suggests give Bo McCreary to North, give your future first, and send pick 39 to GWS in the three-way trade. With all due respect, I appreciate the thought in this 3-team mock trade, but to think you're going to get McCreary a first-round pick and we have to send 39 another way? Nah. Sorry. Just another delusional North supporter. Go easy. Go easy. It is what it is. You know, the thought was there. Bailey says Simpkin is a dud. So, you know what? Let's get the poll out. Let's get the poll going straight away. Would you take Jai? Look, the absolute maximum, if this was ever to happen, would be a first-round pick. Nothing more and nothing less, right? Would you take Jai Simpkin in exchange for our future first 2026? Let's have a crack at that. Start poll. Now, look, I've read the comments from the video I made earlier this morning, and it seems like 80% of us, maybe even more, want to have no business in Jai Simpkin coming to Collingwood. And that's always good feedback, isn't it? Now, you know, we've all watched a bit of Jai Simpkin over the course of the year, and unfortunate that he's played for North. So while they've been really poor, you don't get the best look at someone like Jai Simpkin, but we know he's an inside and out player who's had some really good years, but those really good years were 2-3 years ago. And that's probably come by way of other youthful players operating in the midfield in favor, ahead of Jai Simpkin in favor. So you look at Wardlaw, you look at Sheasel, you look at LDU. These are the types of players that are now getting the minutes. Tom Powell, if you want to throw him in there as well. Ben Cunnington, when he was playing, would have taken up some time. So here's the thing. He comes to Collingwood and he plays inside mid through and through and has that outside ability as well. I have no doubt that he would have an increased output in performance at the Collingwood Football Club. he would have an increased output at any other club where he plays the role that he thrives in. That's my opinion. Now, is that enough for me to say, okay, let's get him for a future first round? I'm not about that life, if I'm being brutally honest. Does it reek of desperation from list management if that's the way we go? Look, I'm never one to knock a trade before the player even gets a chance to prove themselves. But like, first round draft pick for a player who's 28 next year, it's risky. It's not the way we want to go. When we're talking midfielders, we've been talking Zach Butters. We've been talking Matt Rowell. We've been talking LDU in that younger age bracket. We've been talking Clayton Oliver, who you would have gotten for a bag of chips and half his salary paid by his former club. That's where the enticement was there for a Clayton Oliver who was a year older. So this one of all, if we look at this objectively speaking, this is the least intriguing trade that we've seen in the midfield. Emma says, well, I'll give Simpkin. He might be all right in a good team. He did perform well in the Indigenous All-Stars match, but otherwise I wouldn't do the trade. And that's probably where I stand, Emma. I have no doubts that in a better team, playing the role that he is used to and acquainted with, we'll see a better version of Jai Simpkin. But I think the age is a big factor, and I think that first-round pick is a big factor. And I think the biggest factor of them all is North Melbourne would definitely not be be paying some of his contract. He's the skipper of the club. Their player, the list management of North have said, we have no desire to trade Jai Simpkin. We've heard nothing thus far. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but if it was to happen, we're hearing it's got to be for a good first round pick. They might be able to gamble that Collingwood might fall off next year, but they ran that risk last year didn't they? So they traded away their 2025 first round pick to Richmond for Richmond at the time, their 2024 first round pick. So North Melbourne traded in to last year's draft to get, what's their names again? Far out. I keep forgetting the twins, Jack, help me out, chat. Jack something, right? And the other bloke. I struggle with names sometimes and it pisses me off. Does anybody else get that? Where you think you just shouldn't, you should know these names, but you forget? While you guys help me out in the chat and think about the name, they traded into late in the first round, which pushed out all the way to the 30th pick or something, or somewhere in the late Whitlock. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Akila. Appreciate you. It's what you guys are here for, helping me out when I can't remember. So they traded in to get a Whitlock late in the first round, gambling that they would also see an improvement in their ladder position. In the end, they were stuck to the bottom of the ladder again. Richmond now have a highly prized pick in the top 10 because North traded away for a Whitlock. And I'm not saying Whitlock might not be a bust. It was his first season. I'm not saying that in any shape or form. But they've already run a risk. It already looks bad because they gambled on themselves being a better team this season. So are they willing to gamble on Collingwood falling off the ladder, falling down, literally, metaphorically falling down the ladder, literally in some ways? Matthew asked a really important question. Will it take him a year to work out how to play in our system? So, ideally not. And when we're skeptical about this trade, you don't have a lot of rope to work with, do you? With Dan Houston, there's a bit of rope. With Lachie Schultz, there was a bit of rope. This one, he doesn't come to the Collingwood Football Club with much of a base to stand on. Claudia says, I would be happy with Buller and Blight. And that's, that's where we might just be. BP says, Carlton have killed it this trade period. We miss Graham Wright. Lepich isn't up to it. Oh, hold on. I think Leper did well in the draft. Don't forget the draft is all a part of it. Charlie West, hello. Will Hayes, Joel Cochran. Remember the name? Perryman, top 5 in the BNF. Membry, delisted free agent. Come on, you can't say Lipper's had a stinker. And Graham Wright is in an era of his own. He's a gun. He's an absolute gun, and that's why he continues to climb up this ladder in the AFL. So, you know, credit where credit's due to Graham Wright, but at the same time, I think Leper's done well. I'll make a poll. Carlton have picked up B graders. Yes, with all due respect, they're B graders, but they could be very good role players, much like Billy Frampton, much like Patrick Lipinski. So, yeah. PR says, it's the silly season. This is the best place to keep up to date with trades and whatever else. Collingwood during the season and after. Well done, mate. Keep on punching. Cheers. PR, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. I had a look at how many videos I've made in the last 7 days, including live streams. Does anybody want to have a guess? An educated guess on how many videos we have posted, including live streams, in the last 7 days at Pies Footy? Have a guess. I'm curious to see what you guys think the number is. Wouldn't surprise me if we still pick up Aaliyah on low money over longer contract. Yeah, well, look, he's been offered a modest contract at GWS. We're hearing 2-3 years at 400 odd. So, if Collingwood can get a deal like that with Lee Kalia, you take that. But you're not taking Lee Kalia 5 years at 700K. Joshy says 17. Ben says 25. The farm says 23. Wrong. All wrong. All wrong. All wrong. And all unders, by the way. All unders. Got Aaliyah and play Perriman, Houston, and D. Get Aaliyah. Craig Kelly, fault, why Graham Wright. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, Brendan. And to be honest, I'm not really familiar with it all. Simpkin will be great for culture. When we lose Sidey and Pendle, some extra leadership in engine room will be invaluable. Big fan of getting Simpkin. Great character. I mean, that's a good way to look at the Simpkin position. And that's something he would definitely propose as a massive positive, and he'll lean into the culture at the club. That's massive. It was 29, ladies and gents. 29 videos in the last 7 days. Yeah. Sickening. Sickening. It was quick, but he kind of probably said that he's looking forward to playing with more freedom than under Flyer system. Gold Coast picking up, Jamara, look, credit to Gold Coast to picking up Jamara and Petrarca. Fuck, they're going to be a good team. They're going to be great. But, I mean, like, put it this way, if Collingwood were in Queensland or Sydney, I'd say go get Jamara. But because we're in Melbourne, I don't think this is the right place for Jamara to be right now. You should make a Big Bash channel, man. I don't get around the cricket a great deal. Jay-Z says, get Aaliyah and allow Houston, Jacos, and Perriman to play further up the ground when needed. Don't mind it. I'd like to see Josh Dacos on a wing or in the middle, or both, or middle and forward. I mean, he is the son of Peter Dacos after all, right? Simpkin is a tough, hard inside mid, but would only give a future second rounder at best. I don't think they're going to accept a future second Rick, though. Admiral Epstein says, are people really saying Simpkin will be great for our culture when Pendlebury goes? Simpkin has been a loser. He's the captain of North. He is the captain of North, and I know they're at this point in time an unsuccessful club, but I wouldn't say he's a... I mean, you have to be something to be a captain in the AFL. That's the other thing, Voidoid. Simpkin is also one concussion away from being retired. So I did say in the video, I said, from my memory, recent memory, I can recall Jai Simpkin having concussion issues. So that's a real piece to the whole conversation that you need to factor in. You bring him in. Obviously, most players aren't too many injuries away from missing a season here and there or being forced to retire medically. But yeah, the one where there's a lot of red tape and legalities around it, if he does sustain another concussion or two, and I don't wish that upon my worst enemy, the decision will be taken out of his hands, and then Collingwood will have to eat shit. So as insensitive as that may sound, we do have to be objective about this. JFR asked the question, do you think Titch has anything left? I haven't heard anything about him moving yet. I would say, from what we're hearing, that Tom Mitchell, well, he's not getting any interest from other clubs. We haven't heard of any medicals. I think he'll be a delisted free agent. I don't think we'll keep a spot for him. Even if we have list space, I'd imagine we look at the preseason supplementary period where we bring in train-ons to see if they are worthy of another shot. Pierce says, I'm good with or without new players. I don't listen to any of the egg spurts. Yeah, I agree. I'm of the camp that I'm totally comfortable with just bringing in Jack Buller and Jacob Blight this offseason because of what we bring in the draft with McCarthy, and it forces the club to expose our younger players to the top level. And if that means we slide down the ladder a bit, the intention is to never bottom out, right? It's okay. We can live, guys. We can survive a year out of finals, maybe 2. Worst case, 3. But the club that we are, we expect to find ways to stay in finals contention perpetually. Why aren't we trying to improve our age profile? Really curious. I feel like we are. You delist Markov, Ash Johnson, who were close to 30. Mason Cox may or may not be on the list. Tom Mitchell won't be on the list. Will Hoskin-Elliott has retired. Myercheck has gone to the Ds. I think we're slowly doing it, and you don't want to do it. You don't want to throw the baby out the bathwater and get rid of every player north of 30, because you see what happens when that occurs around the league. G-Train is in the chat. Could I be tempted out of retirement? I think you'd have to lose a few kilos if you were the G-Train right now. Yeah, targeting Simpkin isn't improving age profile, and that was a big point that we've highlighted, BP. That's a big issue in this whole conversation, especially when a first-round draft pick is what's being touted as the way to get Jai Simpkin out of North Melbourne. What's the poll saying? So 69 votes. Okay. 77% of you say no to Jai Simpkin in exchange for our future first in 2026. So that's the story right there. Forward line. Checkers, 33, out for Buller, who's 24. Is that an improvement on age? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's do the next poll. Has Leper done well in his role in the first 24 months? Now, I preface this poll by saying only being 2 years into the list management role for Leper is still very well within its infancy. Let's be honest, right? List management doesn't really play out, and you can't really make a fair judgment until you're 4 or 5 years in my opinion. Don't speak too many facts, Luke, says Teresa. Chris says, do you think Collingwood are getting desperate by getting Jai Simpkin in the trade period? I'm comfortable with asking the question to see what's possible. Totally comfortable with it. But if we do get Jai Simpkin for a future first round pick, it may come off a bit desperate. But then again, let's see what he does for the club if he comes. Because let me ask you the question. If Jai Simpkin comes out next year and we're top 4 and he has borderline an All-Australian year, are we having the same feelings that we have right now? That's a question to you guys. Let me remind people, Houston's lack of form is not Leper's fault. Yeah, Josh, I didn't make a video on that. I did not make a video on that, but very interesting. So we got a third round pick from 2026 for Brody Myercheck. Very nice. Albeit in a compromised draft. For some reason, guys, I don't know about you, but for the longest time, I thought third round picks were rubbish. But a lot of our hidden gems have been found in that round. So let's talk. I mean, Josh Dacos is a father-son. Let's talk. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at players that were taken late in the draft. A third round, you can make it work. You can definitely flex some muscles there. Let's go Collingwood draft AFL draft guru. Collingwood playing list. Okay, is this it? It's here. So let's go back to 2014. Tom Langdon was pick 65. Goodness gracious, wouldn't have been nice for Tom's career not to end so suddenly. That was an absolute steal. So that's a 4th rounder. Braden Maynard was pick 30. That's 2nd round. Okay. Tom Phillips was really good for a period of time. Pick 58. Rupert Wills and Ben Crocker, they were one-season wonders, weren't they? I'm not including the rookie draft, by the way. We're talking about 3rd rounders in particular. Who knows what Cal Kirby could have been if it wasn't for his heart condition. So we've been hard done by with some of these medical retirements. Josh Dacos, pick 57. Dane Swan, I'm sure some of you have mentioned Dane Swan. That goes way back. Nathan Murphy, pick 39, which would have been a late 2nd. Or mid-2nd. No hit there. Bo McCreary, pick 44. Excuse me. Harvey Harrison. Joe Richards, who helped us get Dan Houston. Anybody? And Joel Cochran, very, very excited. Charlie West, I'm enthused about that name. We are all paying attention. Will Hayes, pick 56. Come on. Yep, Bo was taken in the 40s, absolutely. Swanee, yep. The fact Leb has been able to get the big names in like Schultz and Houston and get us into a prelim last year, he's done very well. Can't remember Collingwood getting big fish like this prior. I wouldn't say Shooter was a big fish. Houston, probably a tier or 2 below big fish. Bailey says it's the way Collingwood doesn't utilise Houston. That's the problem. Everything goes through Nick and Josh. Watch multiple games this season and he constantly gets ignored. He doesn't fit in his system. That was something that was brewing from the start. We were hoping he'd break out of that obscurity in the second half of the year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I think we've learned that the important is to learn from these lessons. And I can, without knowing what's going on at the club, my gut feel is he's going to be on the half back line and we are going to abuse going through Dan Houston and he's going to be flying in the preseason. That's my hope. Yeah, Swanee 62 or 45, some of you saying. Jordan Roughhead picking the 70s. I mean, yeah, that was by way of a trade though, right? Charlie West is the big one for me, says Pia. BP asked the question, where does our next midfielder come from? Not nominating McGuan Hurts, has the same profile as Lockie Neal. BP, you can't put Tom McGuan and Lockie Neal in the same sentence. As much as he's a child of the club, McGuan, a love child. At the end of the day, he might not even get picked up in the national draft. Not saying he can't be a Lockie Neal, but he's a long way from it. Guys, Thomas McGuan, even if you watch my recent analysis on Thomas McGuan, what is he as a player? Extremely small, height-wise, extremely skinny, big outside player. Does not accumulate the ball on the inside at Coates level. Does not have a piercing kick. For his height and size, you have to have that Rowan Steele about you, for example. Being that height, you just have to be a good ball user. I don't think Tom McGuan is that. He's if you want to put an AFL name attached to him in comparison, a Kmart version or a $2 shop version, I put this as politely as possible. I'm trying to paint a picture. He's like Zach Merritt. 30% of his possessions are contested and the rest are uncontested. For a midfielder, that is a big contrast. So that's Tom McGuan. Good heart, good character, great work rate, very loud on the field, has some really good base traits to work off. I think he's going to do everything in his power to have a solid career AFL level, but he's not anywhere near the potential of Lachie Neale. Claudia says Cochrane will be good. Josh needs to play on the wing and Houston off halfback. Wing, midfield, forward, I'm easy. Any update on Mason? No update as it stands, Chris. There's every chance he stays on the list, but there's every chance that he gets delisted and finds another club. Yeah, pick 58 Neil. There you go. You said he has the same profile. I mean, I'm sure Lachie Neale was more stockier than McGuan at his age. McGuan, just not good enough. That's why we are not nominating him. Simple, says Rick. Peter G says McGuan will be a rookie at best. A lot of clubs will pass on picks in this draft and elevate rookies. McGuan will come good off the rookie list. Sam Darcy's brother may not even get nominated by the Dogs. Coxie speaking to Essendon. Peter G, you are probably the most resourceful person in the chat and trusted with your sources. Can you shed any light on that, or can all you say is Mason Cox is talking to Essendon? I'll respect that if you don't want to disclose any further information, but I'll take your word for it if that's all you're going to say. Pickers thinks McGuan will go between 20 and 35. Look, if that's the case, guys, if McGuan goes early in a second round, you do have to scratch your head with this decision, but we're clearly being cutthroat and we're not letting the sentiment get in the way of this decision. You just have to trust the club. You have to trust Leper. You have to trust Shane O'Brien. You have to trust Fly McRae. You just have to. There's no alternative. In the present moment, you have to trust. If there's no trust, then what is there? With regards to his poll, has Leper done well in his role in the first 24 months? 83% of you say yes, 17% of you say no. It was mentioned on Trade Radio, Essendon has interest in Cox. Was that today, or was this like last week or 2 weeks ago, Rick? It makes sense. There's no Sam Draper. Todd Goldstein got delisted. Brian's coming back from an ACL. It only makes sense. That has to be the club. It's funny, I did an Instagram post and there's so many Essendon people that are picking up the algorithm of it and all of them are saying, God, no. Shane O'Brien will be a good influence. Would you give North Melbourne a first round pick and say you paid the salary? So are you saying North Melbourne pay the salary? I would say they're not going to pay the salary, so I can't really consider that hypothetical. Mace only wants to be a pie. I don't blame him many times. Why wouldn't you want to be a pie? Hey guys, now we're a very open forum here. We're all grown up and can have mature conversations and have discourse and respect each other's opinions. What's your view on the First Nations rookie list spot potentially being opened for people with Indigenous background? I'm curious to get your thoughts. Coxie did a medical with him. I was told yesterday that he met with Essendon before heading off for his holiday to South Australia. Coxie did a medical with them. Thanks, Peter J. Appreciate that. Josh Jacobs, ESPN Phantom Draft didn't have top 40. Zero Hanger Phantom Draft not in the top 50. All right, well, there you go. Where there's a smoke, there's a fire. Leper is very knowledgeable and hasn't done wrong as far as I am concerned. Are we 100% locked in for McCarthy? I'd be very, very surprised if we weren't. He's going to be a hell of a player, Tom. Rookie spot, a great initiative. Raymond says it's grouse. Josh says, sounds like a DEI hire, but understand as dwindling Indigenous number. Okay with it. Farm says, should be picked on your ability, not race. And you know what? I'm glad we all have different opinions and can voice it. It screams out DEI to me. It really does. My view on it is if you're going to open up a rookie spot, you open it for every race. My argument is that's discrimination against every other race that isn't in the race for that spot. you should be purely put on an AFL list based on your ability, not your heritage. I think that's a very slippery slope. I think the AFL are ticking boxes. There's many different backgrounds and ethnicities and catchments of locations where they have their own adversities and whatnot, and they break out of it. They break out of the pattern of oppression. That more so that they break out of these poor situations. They're born into these horrible conditions. People, there's these stories time and time again. You look at people from Brazil in the favelas who make a life out of sport because they find a way. They want to. That's their passion. They want to break out of that. So I personally think you open up, if you're going to add another rookie spot to the list, make it so everybody has an opportunity to be put on that list. While we are at it, let's scrap the welcome to country. Stephanos says the discrimination pick should be open to all cultures, not political BS. I'm with you. We need more Aboriginal players in AFL, otherwise it's boring. McCarthy is NGA because of race. Yes, so there's that as well. If you are of a different race, you are you get academy privileges and you get to train with the club and all these cool other incentives or whatever you want to call it. So once again, there's a conversation there. Your local expressor says, what the AFL is suggesting, Anthony, is that some people have a more difficult path to the AFL, so it doesn't hurt to provide some extra support. Some people should expand across every race because every person from many different people from different races, different upbringings have difficulties in having an opportunity to perform at the highest level. So that's where I stand with that. Let's go for Lee Kalia. His vertical leap is insane. I agree. Peter G says, I think it's a great thing for Indigenous talent as the numbers are dwindling in terms of those players coming into the AFL, but I agree it should be open to any race. I think it's a great thing for Indigenous talent as the numbers are dwindling in terms of those players coming into AFL, but I agree it should be open to any race. So you think there should be a way to increase grassroots for Indigenous communities, but you don't agree with the rookie list, Peter G. Tim Van Coilenberg, my favorite surname in the chat. I think the game's just become so political, but I guess it's good if it gives people an opportunity that can achieve things if they are still disadvantaged. Whitlock, yes, Steve-O. Steve-O, I think you're a bit behind the chat. Shouldn't be just Aboriginal. It should be a rookie spot for any NGA player. Just any player, period. Really. Let's open a rookie spot to the first Mongolian footballer. Is that you, G-Train? Tony says, I don't care who plays as long as you're good enough, but I do like Aboriginals. That's where the buck stops with me. And that's the thing. This conversation will get conflated into two different narratives. Some people will see this and they'll be like, oh, anyone who shares the view that I have, where all of a sudden I'm racist. And I am suppressing the minority. But the point I'm trying to make is by giving an advantage to one race because of the nation or the culture they're from, by doing that, you're disallowing a bunch of other cultures and a bunch of different people from different upbringings who would die for an opportunity to be on a rookie list. You're basically saying, let's open up a spot for an Indigenous player who's not quite good enough because we want to increase the participation levels of Indigenous people. Imagine the commentary. The Mongolian has broken down a defensive wall. Peter says we should get more Indigenous talent in, but the rookie spot should be open to any player. I mean, at the end of the day, like if they don't want to play footy, they don't want to play footy. Like it's like people of Asian culture. Not a lot of them play Aussie rules, and that's just it's embedded in their culture. They just don't play it. It's like wogs. I'm a wog. most of us will play soccer. And that's not a general, that's fact. That's just the way it is. That's our upbringing. We have an inclination to play the round ball. And some of us end up playing the egg ball. Father, son favors wealthy and well-connected kids. That's a whole nother conversation, isn't it? No, your local espresso. I'm not having a go at you. If you think my tone is having a go at you, no. Please don't get that misconstrued. I'll read out your. No one's trying to cancel you, Anthony. It's a nuanced conversation. If you read my earlier post, I agreed with you, and you said we should do something similar for the Sudanese community. Yeah, no, all good. Like I said, I'm not having a go at you. I appreciate your opinion, and I'm glad we can have this conversation. Xander Maguire tweeted, North want 2 first rounders for Simpkin. Go and get fucked, North Melbourne. Brendan says, let's not sell the farm to get Simpkin. Would rather get Leakalia, would fit nicely in our aging backline. For the right price, Brendan, say I would be willing to give up a second rounder for Leakalia, and I'd be willing to pay $500 for 4 years. 4 years. I'll make that a poll. How about that? Let's make that a poll. I'll make that a poll. Would you take Leak? And if you don't like the idea, tell me if you have a different option for Leak. Or would you give a second round pick for Leak Aaliyah and pay $500? Two first round picks for Jai Simpkin is a madness. It's a madness. Simpkin won't be at Collingwood, says Peter. The farm, there's that as well. Like, nepotism in private schools is crazy. Not many kids from public sectors in the schooling system make it onto an AFL list. So there's money, nepotism, exposure. Like, that is a real problem. It's like the underbelly of the AFL, if you want to. I mean, that's a bit of sensationalism about it, but to some extent it is. Your local espresso says $750 a year for Leak a year. If you were going to give it to Silvani, who is perennially injured and 4 years older, can't agree with you on that one though. I think we're off. By the way, we're offering Jack Silvani $650 for 4. Is Simpkin fast? You know, Dr. Cod, he's not fast, but he's like Pendles, where I'm being very careful when I mention Pendles and Simpkin in the same breath, but he does have that. Like, if there's another player who's close to Pendles when it comes to his evasiveness within the contest, it's Jai Simpkin. Agree or disagree, chat? Do you agree that if there's a player close to Pendles, I'm not saying how close, but close enough to Pendles when it comes to evasiveness and awareness within a contest, I think Simpkin is pretty good at that. No? Simpkin doesn't make our VFL side? Stand by $400K per year for 2 to 3 years. That's it. Don't you, guys? Come, Teresa. Safe place. Come on. Disagree? Disagree? Guys, by the way, I adjusted some settings on my camera. Do you notice there's a live stream, the video quality look better? Did any of you subconsciously notice that the quality of the stream is better, the video quality? Why aren't we going for Jack Steele? Too old? You know, age factor aside, I just don't think Jack Steele is good enough for our side. Fraser, do you believe the homophobia situation in AFL is politically motivated? Do other sporting codes have a similar? Are you trying to get me cancelled? I didn't like the way, who's that gentleman from Brown, Mitch Brown. I don't like the way he was preaching altruism. I think the AFL are really selective in the political stances they take. And they pander to the minority. And I don't think we're as racist or as homophobic as a society as we're made out to be. I don't think we live in a world of oppression when it comes to those pool of people. I think, like, I've never met a racist in my life. I've never met a homophobe in my life. I think what gets blown out of proportion is the comments, the trolls on social media. And if you're going to use forums and comment sections as a reference point to get a gauge on how racist or homophobic we are, then you're not going to win that battle. Color seems vibrant, but maybe that's just your beautiful... Thanks, Farn. That's too kind of you. Mello says, I'd rather steal over Simpkin. Not too sure. Your stream quality is fantastic. We aren't. However, the racists and the homophobes are loud, so it looks worse. A good point. Good point. Nasty Man says, most AFL players are from privileged private schools, so I think it's a great opportunity to see most of our First Nation people playing the great game. Also, WOGs are the original DEI in this country. Yeah, look, I mean, I am WOG, and my grasp on our history when we migrated over is probably not as in depth as you. So I guess I'm not going to. I guess I can't have much of a view. I know. Look, what I can say is, WOGs, when they came to Australia, the Greeks, they came and they worked very, very hard, and they've attributed to society in a very positive way. And I would say that's different. Maybe if I'm missing something, I'm all ears. You know how I am. Guys, I love that we're having these conversations, and where we were 6 months versus now, I just love that we can have this conversation, disagree, agree, and respectfully respect people's opinions here, because I think that's very rare, guys. I think we have a very special community. There's no way known you can have this conversation in many other forums or channels where you won't get ripped to shreds for having an opinion. Has anyone tried the souvlaki food truck in Oakland? I haven't, Ken. I've had Galimera, I've had Orexi, I've had, Nikos, Vanilla, Meet Me, No Name. Could we get Merritt or Kurno in this trade period? No, Chris, I don't think so. Can we all agree that I should be put on the rookie list, Therese? That's why we delisted you the other day, so we can re-rookie you. We told you in good faith, we're going to delist you, but we're going to put you on the rookie list and give you a second chance. We just treat each other equally and no issues. Exactly. AFL didn't like the Cats players dressing as a kneecap. Yeah, I gave that no attention, so I don't quite know what happened there. Who does Simpkin replace on field? He'd be competing with Ned Long in some ways. I say this about a lot of recruits. Unless you're AA, like AA plus caliber player, I think if you come to the club, you don't walk into the side. You have to earn it in the preseason. Appreciate you, Brendan. Appreciate you, Tim. And by the way, Teresa, guys, I'm pretty sure Teresa's a cat person, so there's something about people and those who like cats. You can never, you always got to check over your shoulder. There's always something sinister going on with those people, Teresa. Simpkin replaces Waterboy Markov as a Waterboy. Nice. Did you see Bailey Smith's post about Slobbo? Cats aren't happy with him? No, I didn't. Simpkin replaces the Goey if he plays like he did in the prelim, or Pendles, whose calf blew up. Yeah, you know what? Probably more so Pendles if Simpkin was to come, because Pendles will be playing in the backline. Oh, a few Cats people. Hold on. Stefano says I'm both cats and dogs. By the way, speaking of cats and dogs, did anybody watch that movie way back in the day? Cats and Dogs? What a movie. I have to watch that again. Cats and Dogs. Tell me you guys have watched Cats and Dogs. It's a 2001 movie. What a movie. Look, it has a 5.2 IMDb rating, but at the time when I was young, it was a goated movie. So I will pay no attention to the rating of 5 out of 10. It's very disrespectful. Toby Maguire was in it? What? Toby Maguire was in Cats and Dogs? Alec Baldwin? Who was the scientist guy? What's his name? Cats? I'm sorry, I'm digressing, but this is hitting nostalgia to a T. Who did I love? I loved Jeff Goldblum. But I did not know Toby Maguire was in it. Okay. I never watched Cat Dog on Nickelodeon. Simpkin is a waste of cap space. I have cats and dogs and birds. I'm an animal person, you judgmental poo. Just rolling you up. Wow, I have a cat. Say, Raymond, hey. Says more about you than me, doesn't it? I have a Bengal on my lap right now. What's a Bengal? Is that a breed of a cat? This is funny. Why does Collingwood AFLW suck so bad? I don't know. I've watched a couple games of them this year. They haven't been good for a couple years, so I don't know. Probably just talent. I know their best player, Bree Davies, been out all year, so there's that. That doesn't help. 2 first rounders for Simpkin is crazy, isn't it? By the way, on the Lee Kalia discussion, would you give a second round pick for Lee Kalia and pay $500 for 4 years? 72% of you say yes. We need more speed, says Epstein. They've never been good? There you go. Google Bengal cats. All right. I used to have ragdolls. They were all right. Chinchillas and ragdolls used to be my thing. Bengal cat. Oh, it's like a cheetah. Yeah, cool. Nice. Impressive. 2 first rounders for Simpkin is not happening under any circumstances. No way known. We need Kingswood Country back on. What's that, Dennis? You really should look up Cat Dog. That I've heard of it. Let me look at the pictures of it and see if I've actually watched it. I've watched it, but not... I wasn't never obsessed with it. I was more of a Courage the Cowardly Dog kind of guy. Definitely Courage the Cowardly Dog. I was Recess. Old Cartoon Network shows. Let's have a look. Dexter's Laboratory. The Powerpuff Girls. Ed, and Eddie. Johnny Bravo. Absolutely. What else was there? Tom and Jerry. Bugs Bunny. Bear. Courage the Cowardly Dog was goated. Absolutely. How old are you? Cat Dog might be before... 97, Fraser. G-Train. Need for speed. We're missing a transition midfielder. Central Footy even posted about the 2 first rounders for Simpkin and all the comments are laughing too, even though they hate us. It's a joke, isn't it? Is Simpkin a good kick or just a ball getter? He's not much of a ball accumulator. He'll if he was to play for the Pies, he'd probably average somewhere between 20 to 25 touches. Can be good on the outside. Sometimes he has a mongrel, but does have some craftiness with his kicking for the most part, I would say. Pingu, not sure about Pingu. Clone Wars, not sure. All right, I'll go to Nickelodeon. Badri, all good. We've had a good conversation. Just go back and watch it. We've had a good conversation, my friend. Nickelodeon shows, old. All right, Rugrats, Jimmy Neutron, SpongeBob, The Fairly Odd Parents, iCarly, The Ren and Stimpy Show, and that's that, I think. If he's good outside, why replace Long? If Jai Simpkin's an inside and out player, which is a perfect combination in a midfield mix, which is why you'd have him not over Long. I'm saying you have him in there and move Pendles to the back line and side bottom in the forward line or to the wing a bit more as well, where he played played probably half the season on the wing anyway. So I think there's space to make for Simpkin in the midfield. When do you think Buller will get done? I think late. Chris, because Sydney are preoccupied with the Curnow trade. Maybe they're doing everything they can to keep Buller. Maybe they want to leave it late and run the risk of the trade not going through. Avatar. And if Simpkin was worth 2 first-round picks, imagine what Butters is worth. Crazy, right? Guys, I appreciate you all being here. Another massive week at Pies Footy with all of you here. Maybe we do a stream Sunday, but at the very latest, we'll be back here Monday and we just do this all again, this bloody merry-go-round. I love it. I'm a sucker for it. I appreciate you all. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go Pies.